What's up, guys? The Lazy Goldmaker here. Today I am covering what has been one of the absolute best markets for me in original TBC Classic. I mean, you can maybe guess from what you're seeing on the screen. I'm looking at Wowhead. We are looking at the pre-raid best in slot and best in slot crafted gear that you can craft with your professions. They sell extremely well, and there are some really nice items you can craft. So there are a lot of crafted items in the Burning Crusade that are very good. There are some rare items you can see here, professional leatherworking, and then there are a couple of epic crafted items as well, some of which are tradable. And generally speaking, the epic items are going to be a lot more expensive, but they are still going to be profitable and have demand, but they are going to be a lot more expensive than the rares. The rares are going to be relatively cheap, and a lot of people will be able to afford them, whereas the rares or the epics, not everyone will be able to afford them right away. And some of the recipes are going to be quite expensive as well. But if you can get them, then they are going to sell for a very long time. And eventually prices are going to trend down on materials and more people will buy them and you can sell them on the auction house. Early on, they might just be sold in trade chat, but that's something we'll have to see. Now, we are going to start with what was my absolute favorite item in all of TBC, the Bracers of Havoc. This is a cloth recipe, which is just extremely good. It is a world drop, so the recipe you can buy it on the auction house. Since it is a rare item, it is not that expensive, usually not that rare. The recipe, you need to keep your eye out for this from day one. If you have tailoring, this recipe is incredible because it's pretty cheap to craft. 4 primal earth, 4 primal shadow, and some nether weave. And these bracers, even though they're rare, they are best in slot for many specs for all of phase 1. It's incredible. They sell so fast. They're going to sell extremely fast. Get this. Just get this. Now, we are going to cover some others as well. So for the physical damage dealers, there are a couple of both leatherworking and plate items to cover that sort of cover the same niche. You have the fell leather set. So these have the fell leather boots, fell leather gloves, and fell leather leggings. These are all like reasonable options. The boots are by far the best ones. These are best in slot for pretty much every physical damage class in the Burning Crusade. So you absolutely want to get the boots if you have a leatherworker, and obviously you want to get the other recipes if you can. Now, all of these recipes are sold by the consortium. You learn them from the consortium. So you just need to farm your consortium rep. So if you have a leatherworker, then you need to get it to Netherstorm and farm that consortium rep as soon as possible. The boots, which is the most important recipe, is at Honored, which isn't that hard. I think the leggings is from Revered, and then the gloves are from Friendly. But yeah, get to the boots right away. These are going to sell like hotcakes. Pretty much everyone wants them. I didn't have leatherworking in TBC Classic, so I don't have personal experience with this item, but I'm expecting this one to sell really well. Then you have the Ragesteel set for blacksmithing, which is really good for warriors and paladins. It covers the same slots as the fell leather set, and the fell leather boots are actually better even than the Ragesteel. But the shoulders and the gloves are quite good. Now, sadly, these are drops, rare drops from the world, and they are bind and pickup. So here you need to kill like some spirits in Shadowmoon Valley to get the Ragesteel recipe. For the shoulders, the gloves drop from the glove recipe drops from a Boulder Fist warrior in Nagran. So you just have to farm these boys until you get it. They are in 2 caves in Nagrand. Obviously, it can take a while to farm this. You can get really unlucky. You can not get it at all. On the plus side, if you get it, that means that other people are going to have to farm to get it, and there won't be that much competition. But it's not going to be fun to farm these forever and just never see the drop. You can get unlucky, and it takes a while. But yeah, I mean, having a high barrier to entry means that maybe some people aren't gonna farm them. But since you're just selling to plate classes, it is a little bit worse than the fell leather set, which can be used by every class that does physical damage. So the leatherworking recipes are a little bit better. They're also easier to acquire. But if you have a blacksmith, definitely try to get at least the shoulders and the gloves from the Boulder Fist warriors and from the elementals in Shadowmoon Valley. Now, the last two items I'm going to cover are in the epic category, and they are incredible for the reason that they are best in slot for the entire phase. You have the Girdle of Ruination for casters. This one is best in slot for the entire phase, requires a primal nether, so you need to do your heroic dungeons to sell this to other people. It requires 10 shadow cloth and 16 primal fire, so this is going to be very, very expensive. Primal fire is very expensive usually. On top of that, the recipe is a random world drop, which is sold on the auction house and is a lot rarer than the Bracers of Havoc. So this recipe is going to be very expensive to get. If you have the gold, or if you get lucky and you have a lot of primal nethers, then getting this recipe early can make you a lot of gold. But I think this is something for people who are very high on the hours played scale to get this one early. Getting it later when it's cheaper, definitely a consideration for others. I wouldn't try to get this early because I think it's just going to be too expensive, and I won't have enough time to be online and sell this in trade chat, which I think you will have to do early on. Just sell the crafting service in trade chat for a lot of gold, and I don't think they're going to sell that many on the auction house, but we'll see how it rolls around. It is an absolutely fantastic recipe to have. And then we have another recipe in the exact same vein, the Vengeance Wrap, which is a cloak for physical damage dealers, best in slot for all of phase 1 for pretty much every physical damage class in the game. Once again, 10 shadow cloth, primal nethers, and primal air. And the recipe is a BOE world drop again, so it's pretty much the exact same situation as the Girdle of Ruination. And once again, this is a tailoring recipe, so tailoring is just like fantastic for these pre-bis and bis crafted items. But yeah, you're gonna have to buy this at a very expensive price of the auction house. There's really no way to meaningfully farm for these types of random world drops, so you will just have to pay whatever it is at the auction house, and then sell these in trade chat, farm a lot of primal leathers, get your guildies to help you if you have some, and then you split the profits with them, since they're gonna, if they are willing to funnel all the primal nethers from doing dungeons with you, then that is something you can do. But yeah, there's definitely some other items. I didn't cover like every possible pre-bis crafted option there is. I would definitely suggest looking through some of these pre-bis guides on Wowhead. And keep in mind that even many of the options that are like lower on the list, it doesn't have to be best tier. Even if it's optional, it's going to sell well. That's my experience from every iteration of Classic. Anything that's listed here as like an option is going to sell really, really well. Not everyone can get, people are going to get unlucky. They're not going to get the drop, or they're going to want to upgrade right away once they hit level 70 if it's not too expensive. So just look through all of these, look for items that you can craft. There are going to be a lot of them, and they sell extremely well early on. This is just like everyone is pumping their gold into their gear once they hit level 70, and yeah, take advantage of it. Thanks for watching.